Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about everything we know of Riot MMO. Keep in mind that there is not a lot of information out there, so we're going to bring everything that is there, but then we are going to take a game design approach and speculate on some things, and things that would be very nice if Riot were to implement. So, let's do it. There is no release date yet, but all rumors indicate that we shouldn't expect it before 2024. But 2022, this year, is probably the year where we're going to start seeing lots of information about it. And you can count on us to bring you the latest news. Now, we know that MMO will be in Runeterra. There is no way it's not in Riot's League of Legends World Runeterra and Legends Runeterra, etc. The world is a very big and rich one. Riot did a very good job of fleshing out a lot of these regions, but to this date, we still do not know if all regions will be available or even which regions will be within the game. So we can speculate on that. Runeterra has many regions and some are really developed. We can almost guarantee that some regions will be on the launch just by how much lore they have and how much people are investing in it, and not only that. It is a safe bet to start with more regular regions and then expand the world with patches and expansions. So it's safe to say that on release we'll have Demacia. They are very iconic when you think about League of Legends. Garen living in a bush, spinning you to death while screaming Demacia cannot be forgotten. And Lux is probably the champion with the most skins in the game, if not, should be at some point. Also, the anti-magic theme that they have going for them is very unique in the world. But since apart from that, Demacia looks like a common medieval fantasy kingdom, we guarantee this one will be on release. Noxus. The Conquering Nation is not as beloved as Demacia, at least not right known about, but they serve as great antagonists for many regions, and they don't have a very different flavor going from them. Yeah, I know there is Vladimir, the damn blood mage with the hate to face on the lane because all the noise he makes, but most of the champions are fairly common, which does not mean that they are less specials. I mean, we have some outstanding ones like Sion. Sion has to be the champion that have the best card in all the Runeterra card game, right? Freyord. Yes, I know a Frost expansion, a cold-themed one, is almost a staple in games. You start on normal region and then expansion will have cold one. But I think Freyord will be on the launch, and I imagine that they will expand these normal regions in the following expansions, because Freyord is huge. So maybe we'll focus on more common champions, but as more expansions are released, we might meet Lissandra, we might meet Grumpy, Smith God, that is Ornn, or maybe we might see Volibear commanding the storms, Anivia, that is like a Frost Phoenix, that's what she is, right? And well, any other spirit god from this region. Although we are likely to see some spirit gods right from the start, if the game launches with classes like shamans, but we shall see it. Ionia, another iconic region, and very popular one if you're going by all the games that I have either on Ione or on Yasuo my team. Seems like Oriental culture is easy to differentiate for the others, but it's still normal and relatable enough. Also, it will probably be one of the most beautiful places we can visit, because every time we see a comic or animation in Ionia, it is gorgeous. And the thing that is nice, it ties really well with Noxus, and Ionia has even lost some territory to the Conquering Nation. So there is a thing going out there, so I'm guessing Ionia will be on the launch. I think these will be the main regions that will be on launch, but there are like two regions that are very popular and are heavily featured on other media like Arcane or the game like the Ruined King. But if the game starts really big, maybe they will be on launch. But if not, they can make good expansions. Like Bilgewater be a great expansion where you can like sail around. And Piltover and Zaun, if you have a strong crafting system from the start, having Piltover and Zaun on the beginning makes sense also. But apart from these 6 regions, I doubt we're going to start with the other ones. Just they are just too different, or they have like niche mechanics or they would be greatly featured on expansions that could dedicate more spotlight to them. There are several races in Runeterra, but we don't even know if these will be a factor on the MMO. Some new MMOs like Lost Ark, they don't have options for races, everyone's like the same race. But we're hoping that this will be a factor because, well, I think it increases the diversity and always nice to be able to create even the same classes but different races. But I think I should stop you now and tell you that I hope the Riot locks races and classes per region. Oh, what do I mean with that? I'll explain now. Imagine if you have a region like Freyord, and then you can't choose to play in Freyord as a Minotaur, because there are no Minotaurs in Freyord. It's pretending that they have Minotaurs as races, okay? But Freyord have Trolls, then you can play as a Troll in Freyord. And you can't play as a Troll in, let's say, Noxus, because they don't have Trolls there. So I think this makes the thing very unique. And if you're tying classes of it, even better, like Tryndamere, he's a Berserker, and he's from Freyord. Maybe we have a subclass, the Berserker, there, only to Freyord warriors. Riot can take this opportunity to make a fucking great starting content, each with story and decisions that would integrate you in the world. I mean, why can't an MMO have a great start? I only remember one having a very good start, and that was World of Warcraft with the Worgen races. But I want all races to be even better than that. All races and classes to make me feel like I felt when I played the first Dragon Age. You choose your race, you choose your class, and then you're immersed in the world. And the story that you get in the beginning is catered to what you're playing. It is so good. And as for the second reason, it will make you feel more special and connected to the world. If you know that to play as a Minotaur, you have to be either Demacian, Noxian or Piltovian. Your character already have a background in the world, and this could be even more magnified if the Minotaurs have slightly different skins for each region, so you could look at one and spot it. I'm talking about real development, not just you throw a player on a random place and then he'll do some questions without connecting and he'll leave the place in like 2 hours. No. Let the player do tons of quests on that region, so he'll discover the region. He will start to love that region. But now let's talk about the most probable races, in my opinion, if Riot decides to use race 0. The Vastaya. The Vastaya magical shape-shifting beast humanoid. There are lots of subtypes of Vastayas, and we have them almost everywhere in the world. Also, would be easy for Riot to create new ones to fit specific regions, so this race could actually be all around the world, each adapt to its region and of course, with racial abilities reflecting their types. So Vastaya that is like Nico will have abilities that are different to the Vastaya that is Ari, like we have in League of Legends. Trolls. We have Sand Trolls, we have Frost Trolls and Giant Trolls, so this race could inhabit several regions. This would be your typical Whole Kingdom race, but as players we could play with distinguished individuals, so we're more intelligent than our common folk. Though there is a possibility that Riot will reserve these for monsters and NPCs, so we can have another race of Whole King individuals, but that are not usually that dumb. The Minotaurs. We only have one in League of Legends, our old Minotaur, the purple one, Alistair, has the power to knock you up and over for hours. But in Legend of Runeterra, we have a lot, and we know they are in Noxus, Piltover and Demacia at least. But Riot could easily expand these and fit them wherever they want. Being a Minotaur is pretty cool, but please Riot, if you make it, give them some kind of charge attack. Thank you very much. Yordles. I don't think the main game will have Yordles as a playable race, but I'm pretty certain there will be an expansion that gives us Banderwood, Yordle City, and Yordles as a playable race. Just because they are too different and you need lots of setup to make them work, and you could easily make an expansion with only this theme and things like that and have tons of content. So yeah, that's an opportunity that shouldn't be lost. And now the humans. I love the humans in Runeterra. Riot gave us the Skyrim approach, the Warhammer approach, where humans are all around the world but they can be fairly different from each other. And no, World of Warcraft failed here, guys. They had a great world and took it decades to give us some playable variants from the same race. I hope that Riot goes to town here and make humans in skins and stats even more different, so we could have something like, for example, the Martians. The Martians can have a power related to moral or leadership. They are also much more resilient against magic, but maybe they can't choose magical classes, or maybe only one or two are available, but you kinda need to hide from others. Or even you can start the game in Silent Revolution or in a mage prison. You get me, right? Anything that makes you instant connect to the world, that makes you go, whoa, spellcasters in Demacia really have the heart, that makes at least the first 10-15 hours of the game a lot different for Demacian spellcasters and non-spellcasters. And you can make these reflect throughout the whole game by changing dialogue between players and key NPCs. These would make the game feel so alive. Noxians could have something that links them to their military prowess and hierarchy. Maybe they will be very good with several weapons, and their casters could have the strange form of necromancy or even blood magic. And I would really like for Noxian players to be able to actually enlist in the army and have some kind of quest line that progresses throughout the whole game. And then you can do quests for it, you can do battles, would fit the theme and bring something fresh. Riot should be the toughest of the humans, probably frost resistant also, and maybe a mechanic for their indomitable will. We could also pull from the berserkers and give them something like that, but I think that's better reserved for a class. The caster should yield some elemental or spirit magic. If shamans will be available as classes, the Riot should be one of the best of the shamans, and the spirit gods from this territory would be a great flavor. Maybe even trying players to specific regions inside Freyord. We could even go further and do the tribes that we have there, and then when new territories come with new patches and expansions, we could have more spirit gods and maybe more territories. And finally, the Ionians. Well, they are Oriental, right? So we go to their Oriental roots and have some nice mechanic that revolves around ki, or balance, meditation, or even their proximity with the magic on their land. I like them to be very skilled at few different and exotic weapons, and well, of course, their casters have to use wind. Also, we have to get a blade dancer somehow, I don't know how, maybe through some classes or subclasses. In counterpart to Noxus, maybe we should give the Ionian players an option to fight and to try and get back their territories. You could have Ionian players awakening or helping Shrine Guardians to take over some land. That you have this homeland defense that is also nice, and you could do tons of quest lines based on that. Classes, professions, roles, whatever you want to call it, is a staple in now MMOs. Riot didn't say anything about this, but we can assume this system will be in play. Going by League of Legends, we have tons of roles and sub-roles, but I don't think they are totally ideal for classes. I will give some examples so you can see how I think would be better, okay? We could take like Fighter as a class, and then you have subclasses Berserker, Juggernaut, and Tank. Now you take Shaman as a class. You have subclasses, I don't know, Shaman of the Boar, Shaman of the Bear. Now let's take Wizard, and now I will explain a little bit my ideas for the subclass using Riot's own material. So the Wizard could have Mage as a subclass, a well-rounded caster, or maybe Battle Mage, less versatility for more damage, or even Controller, even less versatile and not very good explosive spells, but would be able to alter the battlefield and inflict powerful negative status on the opponents. That would be like better approach, we shall see it, right? And ideally, here I would like to lean strong in regions and maybe even races. I mean, if we're talking about fighters, let's give the Berserkers only to Freyardians, and then we can give, I don't know, Warlord to Noxus, maybe the Masters could have Warriors, and Ionians could be Samurais. So you take a class, and you have like 4 subclasses on each specific to a specific region. You mold them from the same stuff. So they will share some skills, some talents, some moves, but they will have different enough in playstyle and in how their skills are shown to us that you would feel new. You would feel that this class belongs to another region, and then you play another one, belongs to another region. I think that would make the game very, very, very good. Now for dungeons and raids. When asked about how Riot's upcoming MMO will approach group content, Ghostcrawler, he worked at Blizzard as a lead system designer for World of Warcraft and have been working on Riot for several years now. First he was on League of Legends and now he seems to be ahead of Riot's MMO, where he gave a glimpse into the design philosophy the team is taking to their mmorpg. This tweet here. So that seems to be a signal that you need a group to see the whole story, to get the best gear, to clear the dungeons and raids, and he's really talking that no, you won't solo or game, sorry, that's basically what he's saying. And I won't speculate here in which dungeons or raids we're going to have, because Riot has such a rich world that it can go anywhere. It'll take me too much of your precious time. But if you guys want me to do it, please leave a comment and we might do it. About raids, we have another statement from him as shown here, this tweet. So it seems that we are getting very challenging raids and I'm very happy for that. I hope there is no easy, hard, mythical or whatever mode. I really would like the extra difficult and rewards have to be obtained by doing some mechanic inside the fight, like it was on the best World of Warcraft raid, Ulduar. And if you disagree, fight me on the comments. Professions, careers and world exploration. Nothing was said about that. We know nothing. We are like Jon Snow, so we can only speculate. If they are going this route, which I hope they are, they should use this opportunity to encourage world exploration. So without going into lots of detail, we are now going to create one professional career. We call it the Explorer. The idea is that the available starting map would be incomplete. So you open your map, maybe show only the major cities around your starting point, and you could even maybe show some landmarks, okay? An explorer would be able to map out the other areas that aren't cities, villages or settlements. We would actually divide the world in tiny little regions, which the players don't know, okay? And when the explorer finishes exploring the whole of one of these tiny little regions, he can map it. So he maps on his map automatically. And then he can produce copies. Each copy, of course, would cost something in materials, increasing the complexity of the maps. And he can sell it on auction houses, so players could be constantly improving their maps. Obviously, if the explorer is like using his profession, he gets to level up, right? And when he level up his career, because the career or, I don't know, profession, whatever you want to call it, it would have a separate level from your character. So you'd have to level the profession, basically. And when you do it, you can choose some perks. Let's say, choose a perk that makes you very good with landmarks, so now your map will be much more detailed. Or you choose a perk that reviews natural resources on the map. Now you can see on the map where there are herbs and where there are veins, maybe even with more levels saying which herbs, which veins. Or you were able to kill all beasts on said region, so now you can get the perk and you can show all the monsters in that region on the map. Maybe the explorer could really love real estate, so it would be able to show lands to buy on his maps. See, that was quick and dirty, but you got my idea, right? I could elaborate and create a whole system based on this. And I would integrate with buying land, building houses and other things, but I'm sure people at Riot are much more qualified than I am. But if you guys do have an interest, please leave a comment and we might make a follow-up video. We had some tweets from Ghostcrawler about PvP. One was directly related to PvP and the other might be. So let's read the one that might be. So now PvP can be very controversial, so it is a guess that these might relate to it. Let's have a look now on the one that is for sure related to that. So This one is very interesting, because yes, he confirmed that we will have PvP, but he spoke in a way kinda makes us think that we won't have all types of PvP he just listed. So which ones would we get? Well, I think that to be this level of controversy, World PvP will be non-existent, because I think that's the one that people would most complain about not having it, or they would complain about having a too harsh one, so people would be dying all the time. Or if maybe it would exist, would be like restricted to very small servers or specific regions. But other types of PvP like battlegrounds and arenas, they will probably exist one way or another. And I hope we can also have some kind of 5 against 5 that mimics a game of League of Legends in some way. I think it would be nice Easter egg and a fun mode to play. So that concludes the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching until here, until the end. And please leave it a like if you liked it, of course, and subscribe to the channel. You would really help us. And if you want to know more, if you want us to speculate more about anything, also please leave a comment, okay? Thank you very much, and I'll see you.